I just found out my friends think I'm starving myself and they're planning an intervention, but I'm actually hiding my disease because last time I told the truth, everyone called me an attention-seeking liar. Trigger warning, ED. For a little background, my 17F parents divorced when I was very young. My mom got me for most of the year, and my dad got me for the summer. I hated going to my dad's house. Partially because he was very stubborn and rude and always had to do things his way, but also because every time I went to my dad's house I got violently sick. Nausea, rashes, pain, muscle cramps, and then when I got older, I'd start missing my periods. I went to a doctor, but he said it was a psychosomatic problem related to stress and directed me to see a therapist. My dad didn't let me see a therapist because he thought it was total bullcrap. My mom took me to one a few times, but by then my symptoms had cleared up so we couldn't tell if it helped at all. One thing that really pissed me off was that my dad ate a lot of junk food and drank soda instead of water, and he mocked me mercilessly if I tried to eat healthy. I think it reminded him of my mom, because she's always been a bit of a health nut. I would sneak carrots into the house, and if he found them he'd throw them out. At my mom's house, I'd eat vegetables and organic chicken. Sometimes the food would make me feel sick, but I'd just stop eating that food and it was fine. I got into the habit of turning down any food offered to me because I didn't know if it was safe. I just explained it away as being a picky eater. And then, when I was 16, a new girl moved to my school. I became friends with her, and after a couple months I noticed that she avoided all the same foods as me. I mentioned it in passing like, hey, isn't that weird? And she got concerned and told me that she had celiac disease and I should get myself checked. I got checked, and sure enough, I had it. Everything suddenly made sense. I was so excited to finally understand what was wrong that I told everybody I knew. I told all of the people who I thought were my friends, and they didn't really react well. They acted fine at first, but I noticed that they were all doing the slow fade on me. I confronted my closest friend about it and she said that they all thought I was faking it for attention. They'd only heard about gluten-free diets as a stupid fad. I broke down crying and told her all about how horrible I felt when I had to go to my dad's house and how I couldn't believe that she didn't believe me, and she was horrified. She turned around and became my biggest supporter. She talked to the others, but they still thought I was full of crap and feeding her lies, so we decided it was best to break it off with them. My birthday is in August, so I had 2 more summers with my dad left to go through after I found out. He took the revelation about my disease even worse than my ex-friends. He would scream that I thought I was better than him and I was making up medical problems because I wanted to be special and that he wouldn't put up with that crap. I offered to take him with me to the doctor, but he said that doctors are scam artists and he didn't believe anything they said. It was horrible. It got to the point where he started sabotaging my food and cursing at me when I got sick. So, I've gotten pretty wary about telling people about the disease. Between my personal experiences and hearing people make fun of gluten-free food on TV and the internet, I've decided I'm not comfortable with telling new people. I know that's cowardly, but I'm so afraid of what people will think of me. This is my last summer with my dad, and it's the last summer with my dad. He can rot in hell for all I care. He treats me like crap. I've only got to tough it out for another few weeks. That's not my problem. I can already hear your advice about leaving my dad's house or calling CPS, and respectfully, I've made my decision that it's easier just to stay for the next 3 weeks and then leave forever. Please don't focus on that part. This is the problem I need help with. My best friend and I have made a new group of friends. They're great people, really fun. We play role-playing games every weekend. We've been hanging out since May. There's 10 or 11 of them, a mixture of guys and girls, ages ranging from 16 to 22, depending on whether you count this guy who doesn't regularly attend games. My best friend approached me yesterday and told me that the rest of the group has been talking behind my back. They've put together the fact that I constantly turn down food and that I'm very picky about what I eat and that I've been getting thinner and acting sick, because I've been living with my dad, and come to the conclusion that I have anorexia. They're planning on staging an intervention for me next weekend. Guys, I don't know what to do. This is such an awkward situation. I know I should tell them, but I'm so scared they're going to reject me. They've already got this idea in their heads about what's wrong. At this point I'm afraid that they'll think I'm just making excuses. And I've been burned before. I lost a ton of friends by telling them about my disease. Yeah, they were jerk, but it freaking hurt. How do I do this? How do I explain it so they'll believe me? I can't handle any more people calling me a liar. I'll have a mental breakdown. This disease has ruined my life in so many ways. I just wanted to have this one part of my life separate from that. Please, Reddit, give me advice. Update, 6 days later. Hey guys, thanks for all your help. The intervention was yesterday and I figured you guys would want to know how everything went. A few hours before games started, one of my friends, let's call him Zach, texted me asking to come to his house. He hosts the games, early because he wanted to discuss gaming terms that will be nonsense to most of you. I figured this was probably the intervention and texted my best friend. I think there was some confusion in the last post. This is the friend who was with my other friend group who I poured my heart out to, then she followed me to the new group. Let's call her Laura, to ask if she'd been invited too. She hadn't, so I asked her to come with me. Before I went to his house, I did something a little cheeky inspired by one of the comments on the last post. I went and picked up some gluten-free Chinese food from a place I frequent. They have this amazing vegetable fried rice that I've fallen in love with. They're really careful about cross contamination. I've been eating there for years and never gotten sick. I brought the food with me to Zach's house, along with Laura and my notebooks and dice for role playing. Zach seemed really taken aback that Laura was there. I asked him if he had a problem with it, because if we were going to talk about complicated gaming things, then she should be part of the conversation because of qualifications. I'm really sorry, I'm trying not to drop a crap ton of gaming jargon on y'all. He awkwardly said that it was fine. Then I said something like, is it alright if I eat something while we do this? I missed lunch and I'm really hungry. And pulled out the Chinese food. He said it was fine but seemed kind of alarmed, like I was freaking him out. I started eating and he started his pitch. OP, I didn't actually call you here to talk about game crap. Me and some of the others have noticed some things recently that we're concerned about and they elected me to talk to you about it. I said, okay. He listed off a bunch of things that I'd been doing that made them worry about me. The way they never saw me eat anything, that I always seemed sick and was getting thinner, the fact that I always seemed uncomfortable and nervous when the topic of food came up, that I turned down everything offered to me, and then he finally dropped the bombshell. OP, Michael's older sister is anorexic, and she acts a lot like you do. We think you might be anorexic. I swallowed my food and tried not to look nervous. I'm not. I told him. He started talking about how nobody thinks they're anorexic, but there's clearly something going on with me, and he started just rambling, so I cut him off. I do have a problem. It's not anorexia. Can I talk? He reluctantly agreed. I think he was afraid I was going to say that I was too fat and my problem was that I needed to lose weight or something. Like, he really got committed to the idea that I was anorexic. I'm going to try to paraphrase what I said here because I was very proud of myself for it. I know I'm losing weight in an unhealthy way, but it's not on purpose. I have a disease that means I can't eat grains like wheat, barley, and rye. When I do, I get very sick and my body starts ripping up my stomach and I can't digest much of anything, even things that don't have those grains in them. It's not just an allergy, it does serious long-term damage to me. If I ate a piece of bread, I would break out in rashes, I'd start throwing up, and I might get stuff that seems unrelated like horrible muscle cramps. When I turn down food, it's because you guys offer me stuff like Doritos and Pan-JS. If I ate that stuff, it would make me violently ill. I turn it down to keep from making my health problems even worse. And the reason my symptoms have been popping up and I've been getting sick and losing weight is that right now I'm living in a family situation where I'm forced to eat the foods that my body reacts badly to. When I first met you guys, I was living with my mom, and she accommodated me really well. But right now I'm living with my dad, and he sabotages my food because he thinks I'm making my disease up and that my doctor is a fraud. Zach took out actual note cards and looked through them. He literally had a script for the intervention. That's what I get for hanging out with the kind of dramatic people who play tabletop RPGs, I guess. He was quiet for a really long time. Then he had a few questions. 1. But then why do you turn down, like, Coke? Because Coke is nasty, but I didn't want to complain and make you guys buy root beer just for me. 2. Why didn't you just tell us this stuff? Laura took this one and explained what happened with our last friend group. 3. Okay, so like what would I probably have in the house right now that you'd be willing to eat in front of me? I wanted to facepalm at this one. I asked if he was serious. He was. I don't know, have you got celery? He shook his head. Yogurt? Nope. An apple? Nope. Seriously? He nodded. Have you got some freaking popcorn? Like, air pop popcorn? That he did have. So I ate some popcorn in front of him, and he finally seemed to accept what I was saying. He awkwardly changed the subject to gaming things, and we talked about that until the rest of the group started to show up. When Michael got there, Zach took him aside and started talking to him in a way that I guess they thought was subtle. They kept looking over at me and they weren't keeping their voices down very well. Michael asked if I seemed defensive and Zach shrugged and said not really. I pointedly ate popcorn for the rest of the game. Michael texted me after the game and apologized for assuming that I was anorexic and asked what snacks they could put out for me. I actually cried a little bit. I was worried about getting kicked out, but they immediately moved to accommodating me. They're nice people. So everything worked out fine. Sorry for the anticlimax.